Happiness is beautiful, it's a kind reality. Happiness is the highest good, happiness is free. So let's be so very happy. Yeah, let's be so very happy. Yeah, let's be so very happy.
Welcome to the Happiness Show. This is George Ortega. I'm here with Lionel Ketchian, and we're here to talk about happiness because happiness is, always has been, and always will be the point of it all. Today we have a special show for you. We have as our guest Susan Collette. Susan is she's the owner of Balanced Body and Fitness Trainers businesses. She's a certified yoga instructor, certified fitness instructor, certified nutritionist, and a sports therapist. And basically today, Susan's going to be talking to us about how to achieve happiness through the mind-body connection. Okay, Susan, let's start off with your concept and idea that you see our life as a circle and how happiness relates to that.
Yes, I truly believe that the life of a person is a circle from childhood to childhood. I believe projecting our childlike enthusiasm and curiosity throughout our lives is the secret to happiness. As you well know, George, the seasons are ever changing, and so are we as we grow and change and evolve in our lives. So, just for one moment, George and Lionel, imagine your life as a circle. And in doing so, your circle, our circle, is in large created by our or your life experiences. So, think about how powerful we really are. We have the ability to store the information that we choose in our life circle. So why not make them happy experiences? I know that I choose to make my experiences or in my life circle happy ones, and I like to store my achievements also. I call it the good stuff.
That is such a powerful philosophy because, in essence, we do have the choice to take from the past what we wish, to hold on to from the past what we wish. And so you're saying that it's so wise to simply let the unpleasant go and really hold on to what we most cherish and what brings us the most happiness.
Yes, this is so, George.
That's great.
Well, and my feeling is you gave me that option, the circle and our experiences, was all of a sudden I realized, hey, what can I get rid of? What can I dump? Why carry it around? I'll have room for more.
Oh, this is so true, Lionel. I have a very good client of mine who recently gave me an analogy. He said, imagine holding a glass totally filled. And if you were to hold it there for a few moments, it wouldn't be so very heavy. But by holding it there for a long period of time, it becomes very heavy. And that's very true of us in our life circle. If we're holding those negative thoughts and negative feelings, our life becomes very burdened, opposed to being light and childlike.
Yeah, let's actually apply this. We were talking before about how this principle and philosophy can be applied to different situations. I think we were talking about, for example, let's say we're in a relationship, a marriage or whatever, that for whatever reason doesn't work out. The relationship ends, and so we're left trying to view it as in a way that's going to help us to become happiest.
Yes, well, my example I like to use is if you were in a relationship for 2 years, and the first year your relationship was completely enchanted, most are, and then suddenly your mate, he or she, finds disdain in everything that you do. Well, what happens at the end of the 2 years when you end up parting from each other, most often people carry that disdain with them and take it to be their own. And if you step back and look closer, you'll realize that your mate carried his previous past experiences with him, and his reaction to your actions may have been just issues that he stored.
Nothing personal, huh?
Exactly. So why store his issues? Why not just store all the enchanted moments?
Exactly. Just let go of that part of him that really, wasn't part of the relationship, was something that he brought in.
Exactly.
That leads us actually to the next point, because another part of your philosophy I find very intriguing and very positive. It's the idea that you consider that there really are no mean people.
Well, in my life there aren't. We're not aware of the hardships that are involved in most people's lives. So whenever I experience what appears to be an unkind person, I always respond with kindness. I realize that their actions are just a result or a reaction of whatever they're going through in their lives. So, my theory is compassion and kindness makes happy people. And which brings us to our next point, both Lionel and George, that we create our own destiny in life. And just think how powerful that is. It's so much easier to react when somebody's angry and upset rather than step back and respond in a different light. So we can control the outcome of the moment, the day, and our experience.
Okay, so yeah, that sounds very, very powerful. I think sometimes we talk about it in terms of happiness, of like deciding, we can decide to be much happier, but how do you go about basically controlling the destiny in specific steps, and how does one do that?
Well, often people who are upset and angry will actually respond differently if they're treated with kindness and compassion. So that's really, truly how we change the destiny for the day. If you were to react negatively, then you would be presenting a negative destiny. So why not present a positive one?
Yeah, I think that's true, even if you haven't said a word. Just your demeanor, what you're carrying inside of you probably can be transferred without even one word. I mean, now when you start reacting with negativity, then certainly you could push the person over to react negatively, but a very positive, peaceful, happy demeanor actually goes ahead of itself in paving the way for gentler, kinder transactions with people. I mean, you actually, even in situations where you can't expect to be treated maybe even harshly or negatively, that doesn't even happen because people start to understand that you're not coming at them with that kind of thinking or state of mind, and it seems to work.
It does. It does.
I think sometimes, like, when we act kindly and we create our destiny in that way, hopefully it'll affect the person to change, to help them feel happier, and that will generally, I think, happen. But even to whatever extent that person might not be absolutely influenced, at least we maintain our most positive destiny, right? I mean,
exactly.
That's good.
And also, they may not respond immediately, but we become a sounding board and a mirror for them to reflect upon themselves.
Yeah, that's very good. In other words, like, a lot of times they're so caught up in their anger or their displeasure that they don't see the other side. And so, like, by you reflecting that other possibility to them with your kindness and your positivity, you're showing them that mirror of what it could be like.
Yes, and I think generally people are when they're angry, they're not accustomed to other people reacting in a kind manner. So that's another point, in fact. Sometimes they're just merely stunned.
Yeah, that's why I like to say that there's nothing more powerful than happiness, because when you react with happiness, you're really using tremendous power, because first of all, you've disarmed the person. They weren't counting on that kind of a response from anybody. And you know, on this show, and something I've preached is happiness is a decision. And as I'm listening to you, Susan, I see that decision basically enables us to respond with happiness, because if we get in touch with the fact that that's first and foremost for us, that's maybe even a purpose of life, then when things happen, they happen. But our reaction to those things doesn't have to be a negative thing, because they've already happened. And so responding with happiness enables you to access your highest state of mind, your highest intelligence, to first of all, be clear about what your decisions are, what your choices are in the moment, and the fact that you're dealing with another human being, and you could share with them and not react with anger, which is what you brought with you to the situation anyway. Because if it didn't meet the opposition, it wouldn't. If it wasn't there to begin with, it isn't going to be there because of the situation. It's your reaction was there before the event. It just needed an excuse to unload, right?
Yes, I agree.
And I think happiness is so wonderful, because then you learn to give up the anger. It just doesn't serve you anymore. And I think the reason we have anger and unhappiness is people think that will get them something. And it's not buying as much as it used to, because more and more people are awakening to happiness as a powerful means of exchange.
I agree, Lionel.
Okay, Susan, another part of your philosophy that I think is very interesting, very positive, is that you highlight the idea that we have the ability to choose how we perceive our life in general.
Yes, well, I like to perceive my life as an adventure. And in life, there will always be obstacles and hurdles. I like to view them as challenges and my achievements. And so, at most, I believe that there's always a solution, and we just have to search for it.
So that kind of creates a situation where if you feel a certain something in one's life should be a certain way, that we don't give up. We have faith and we have hope and confidence, and we just persevere and try as many different ways as we need to.
Exactly, George. I feel I can accomplish anything, and I always look for that open space in that closed door. And by doing that, and being persistent and searching for the solutions, I believe it makes for a happier person by challenging ourselves and not giving up.
Well, Susan, this is great, because your beliefs really are empowering you, because you have the belief that there are solutions to everything, that obstacles are just an opportunity to show how proficient you are in dealing with them. And in a sense, it's like somebody else doing a crossword puzzle. What may be the end of the world for one person is just something to deal with for you, and you know you're going to find the solution for it. Either that, or if there's no solution to it, you'll just leave it alone and say, well, it's not a problem because I can't do anything about it.
Exactly. Also, George, we had discussed on one other occasion just how wonderful it is to wake up in the morning and just appreciate what we have.
Oh,
So that's perception in itself.
Yeah, because we're looking at each other. We just did a show where we were talking about gratitude, and it kind of like gratitude is really just like noticing what we have, and but it's so important. The appreciation is really that feeling of happiness, of feeling good about what we have. But right, we've been talking so far about pretty much the mind connection. But now again, you're a certified yoga therapist, and you work with the body and all. So explain to us how, like, you have a method of de-stressing through breathing yoga.
Yes. Well, George, it's a matter of, I suggest my clients throughout the day take 3 deep breaths during stressful moments. And it's amazing what this simple tool will do as far as benefits to our bodies. Because when we take 3 deep breaths, we move the negativity and the stress outside of ourselves. And we are more relaxed. And by doing this, we're happier people.
That I think is very important, because I think ultimately happiness is an experience that we feel physically, that our bodies feel it. You know, it's an emotion. And so that I think through the breathing, through the yoga, the kind of like enhancing that mind-body connection, we're getting more and more in touch with that feeling. You know, and I guess relaxation is so important to that, because, like, I guess the more we relax, the more able we are to feel those feelings.
Would you say, Susan, that it's more of a centering and more of a connection to the moment rather than the past or the future?
As far as yoga is concerned?
Well, as far as breathing, you know, and the relaxation that you derive from that?
Well, what I normally do is instruct my clients to breathe while they're having those stressful moments, so they're not storing all that negative energy.
Okay.
And I believe that breathing throughout the day would be helpful, even if we're having happy moments, because sometimes being happy can stress our bodies if we're exerting our energies. So,
well, I think what I was trying to communicate is that breathing is a mechanism for centering yourself.
yes, that actually in the Eastern philosophies, your center is your breath. And I am a certified yoga instructor. I teach yoga for relaxation. Yoga is a wonderful practice for relaxation and balance. All motion in yoga is through breath of motion. So as we move from one posture to the next, we breathe to bring us into the next motion. And when our bodies and minds are less stressed, this will enable us to be happier.
That's great. And it seems like you take a very comprehensive and complete approach to happiness, because not only is there the mind and body component through yoga, but then you also deal with nutrition. That it's also the idea that what we eat can very much affect our physiological state, and that will in turn affect our level of happiness and the kinds of feelings that we'll ultimately have. So in terms of nutrition, can you give us some advice as to like how nutrition affects our feelings, and how to enhance that nutrition in order to enhance our happiness?
Yes, well, I teach my clients the relationship with food on a physical and emotional level to maintain a healthy lifestyle. So, have both George and Lionel, have you ever met a hungry, happy person? I don't believe so.
That's cute. I never thought of that.
Actually, yeah, that's very important. It's like from the scientific research, the one thing that they found that just makes happiness impossible is being hungry. So yeah.
Well, I teach my clients to fuel their bodies throughout the day, and I suggest they have small meals or snacks. And that being not simple sugars, please steer away from simple sugars, but moreover, protein and complex carbohydrates. So I could give you an example of a meal. a lunch meal or dinner meal would be grilled chicken on mixed green salad with either a low-fat dressing and a slice of whole wheat bread. That would be a wonderful lunch. A good example of a snack would be, 2 slices of turkey, a slice of low-fat cheese or soy cheese, some whole wheat crackers, and an apple. But what happens is when we sustain from eating for long periods of time, our blood sugars drop. And the extreme change in our blood sugars may cause mood swings, low energy levels, and stress to our bodies. So, my theory is a balanced nutritional program will yield a balanced, happier person.
That's great. Are there specific foods that that have been determined to either like make happiness very difficult or make happiness, much enhance happiness more?
Well, yes, especially simple sugars, because they're absorbed so fast into your system that I know you both have probably experienced those very highs that you feel and then that very low energy level that you have when you maybe have a chocolate bar or something that's very sweet. And then again, even if you were to overeat carbohydrates and if you sat down and had a very large pasta meal, don't you feel very tired afterwards? I know I do. So these, if you're going to have pasta or breads, you should eat them sparingly. And I usually say a half a cup to 3/4 of a cup of pasta is a good amount.
That's good. So I guess in a sense, there's another component then that if we eat too much at once, then it is taxing our digestive system where we have to expend a lot of energy to digest that food that we would otherwise have to just feel better.
Yes, and in answer to your second question, are there good foods we can eat? Any complex carbohydrates, fruits are very good for you, vegetables, whole wheat breads, and proteins. And being a vegetarian, you can easily supplement your foods, and it would be a similar situation as far as energy levels.
Great.
I've got a question.
Yes?
Well, maybe it's a comment and then a question. My comment, Susan, is that you seem to be a very happy person. Is that true?
Yes, truly happy.
And my question is, how do you do that?
Well, all of the philosophies that I've been discussing today truly are how I live my life. And putting them all together, nutrition, state of mind, and I had another subject of how we perceive ourselves with fitness. Exercise is another point that's important.
Yeah, we're going to be getting to that, sure.
So,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
So as a whole, I would say it's not one component. It's a series of many, many components that truly makes me happy. So
Very good.
That is good, yeah, just incorporating everything, the whole mind-body connection and all. And so let's go to that fitness component, because you are a certified fitness instructor, and we were talking before about how you feel that activity is very helpful to enhancing the kinds of feelings that ultimately lead to happiness.
yes, well, as you well know, when you exercise, don't you usually feel better? I know I do. And another component is, as young people, we produce HGH, which is called human growth hormone, in good amounts. As we age, this production diminishes. One of the major ways To up the production of HGH would be either anaerobic exercise or aerobic exercise. And an example of anaerobic exercise would be weight training. Again, you must raise your training heart rate to a point where your body is working so that it will be producing the HGH in larger amounts. Another example would be aerobic exercise. Jogging, walking at a fast rate, an aerobic class, anything that actually sustains your heart rate for a period of time. And as we were discussing earlier, I always feel better and look better after I exercise. So during this time also we produce endorphins in our bodies, which in turn will make us happy, which in turn will put us in a happier state of mind.
Oh, that's great. Well, you know, we're at that moment where you can give us what you feel is important before we close, give you that opportunity.
Also, if you can also give us your website and if you'd like the phone number where people can contact you, you know, to gain more of this information.
Yes, well, the name of my company is Balanced Bodies, and my online website is Balanced with Fitness. And my telephone number is 800-FIT-YOGA. That's 800-FIT-YOGA. In theory, I would say as closing, I assess my clients' needs and empower them to create a happy, healthy, and balanced lifestyle.
That's great. That's very wonderful. Well, thank you, Susan, for a very comprehensive presentation of what's really involved with the mind-body connection and becoming as happy as possible. Okay, well, thanks. That's all we have time for today. Thanks for watching. In the future, we'll explore other topics designed to help us better enjoy life. Think well, feel happy, and I hope you'll join us again next week here on The Happiness Show.
Happiness is powerful. It's our underlying need. Happiness is why we live each day. Happiness is destiny. So let's be so very happy. Yeah, let's be so very happy. Yeah, let's be so very happy.